Right, so hello and welcome back to another video on Arthur TV. I realised I haven't actually done one of these videos since I face revealed at 100,000 subscribers, and I guess now PewDiePie is not doing Pew News anymore, I'm going to try and get them done more regularly. So for those of you who haven't seen any of these before or who are new to the channel, they're basically where we do a roundup of all the news and drama that's been happening in the community in the last week or so. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. So our first story is that TGFbros are going to jail. So for those of you who don't know, TGFbros are two English YouTubers called Jay Swingler and Romell Henry. Together, they run a channel with about 5.8 million subscribers called TGFbros, and they basically do things like vlogs, pranks, stunts, and challenge videos. And lately, one of their videos in particular has got them into the news. So on March 6th, they uploaded a video to YouTube called Extreme Driving Test with TGF Car Flipped. The video is basically Jay and Romell driving around in a Renault Clio with a guy called Richard who's meant to be giving them a driving lesson. But rather than getting an actual driving lesson, they just put the instructor through absolute hell. Like they're driving up grass embankments, they're smashing up their own car, they're smashing into parked cars, and inevitably they flip the car onto its side. After the video went up, there were several reports made to the police from concerned viewers, and on the 30th of October, both Jay and Romell were summoned to court for 1 count of dangerous driving. Also actually, Richard was summoned for 2 counts of aiding and abetting dangerous driving. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens to Richard, because during the video it just doesn't seem like he was in on it at all.
What the f***ing hell are you doing?
Since being summoned to court, they haven't really spoken about it. Romell's tweeted out saying, "So today's been eventful," and Jay tweeted out, "Oh boy." But other than that, they haven't really addressed it. I wonder if it's one that they're not really talking about much in public, but in private are like massively freaking out about it. Because the repercussions could be quite serious for this. Like if they're found guilty, they could get sentenced to up to 2 years in jail, on top of getting a fine and a driving ban. Also, if police discover the income from their video, they'd technically be allowed to confiscate it because it would be considered proceeds of crime. Given the video's got like 8 million views, that could be anywhere between like 8 and 40 grand. So you think they'd be taking this pretty seriously behind the scenes. I mean, if you look at their channel, their entire brand is just doing stupid stuff for shock value. Like jumping into a pile of stinging nettles, going down a slip and slide covered in sandpaper, the roundabout of death, whatever the hell that is. But for all the stupid stuff they do, they never really end up in the news for any of it. The only other time they've really made the news was when Jay got his head cemented inside a microwave and was rightly criticised for wasting emergency services time for it. I think this video hit the news for the same kind of reason as well. Like with the rest of their videos, you know, if they're jumping into a pile of stinging nettles or going down a slide and getting injured, it doesn't really affect anyone else. But this video was filmed on public roads with other people driving around. I know they weren't driving particularly quickly, but who knows what could have happened. Also, they need to be pretty careful because even if there are no legal repercussions, there can be some pretty bad ones on YouTube. There's a YouTuber called Ali Law with about 3 million subscribers, and he did loads of publicly dangerous videos. Like he did things like climbing buildings like the O2 and getting chased by police, staying overnight in stadiums, in shops, in leisure centres. And it got to the point where YouTube just turned around and demonetized his whole channel, so he couldn't earn any ad revenue from his videos. The same thing could easily happen to these boys. Their channel averages around 20 million views a month as well. That could be anywhere from like 20 grand to about 100 grand every single month. Like that is a lot to risk. Whether they end up with a jail sentence or not, I don't know, but they actually wouldn't be the first YouTubers to be handed a jail sentence. Some absolutely scum Spanish YouTuber in 2019 made a video where he fed a homeless man a toothpaste sandwich. As a result, they got handed a 15-month jail sentence and a 20 grand fine. I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens, but I'll almost certainly be covering the outcome of the case in a follow-up video. So if you want to keep up with the story, make sure you're subscribed down below so you don't miss out. So that leads us on to our second story, which is that Pyrocynical has responded to the grooming accusations. So for those of you who don't know, Pyrocynical is a 23-year-old British YouTuber with about 4.5 million subscribers. He's one of the biggest commentary YouTubers on the platform and does a range of content, from social commentary to TV shows like 90 Day Fiancé and Dr. Phil, to more in-depth long-form videos about everything from gaming to trending topics. And lately, he's been accused of grooming someone. Someone called Ivory, also known as Lovebird on Twitter, basically made a thread accusing Pyro of grooming him. "Pyro groomed me," he said, "and I've screenshots to prove it. I've been sitting and thinking about this stuff non-stop, being angry, confused and sad that I've had to accept this since I was 15. But I never said anything because I felt powerless." What he sent ranged from drawn not safe for work stuff to YouTube videos, and he'd asked me to compile stuff for him using tags that he liked on certain websites. At 15, I obviously did it because it's freaking Pyrocynical. I was just happy to be talking to him, and I was trying to continue that. I have Discord screenshots going back 4 years to prove all of this. I can't really show much of the screenshots because obviously this video would get demonetized if I did, but I'll leave them in the description down below. The screenshots basically show a conversation between Ivory and a deleted user, which is apparently Pyrocynical, engaging in things like roleplay, discussing fetishes, sending back and forth furry images, and loads of weird stuff like that. But because the whole conversation was with a deleted user, the community response was quite mixed. Like, you had some people saying things like, always believe the victim, if you have any questions, ask them respectfully, this is probably hard for them to talk about, I believe you 100%. You had other people saying things like, I honestly feel betrayed, I used to like Pyro's content, but now I don't think he's the kind of person I want to be associated with, thank you for bringing this situation to light, I'm unsubscribing right now. You had people who didn't believe it saying things like, I call BS on this, show actual proof, screenshots can be photoshopped. And you even had people saying things like, I'm still going to watch him anyway, so what's your point? And that has 1,000 likes, and that's just stupid. But I think after the James Charles and the Slazo situation, where two big creators were accused of some pretty bad things and basically had their entire lives ruined, they were completely cancelled, everyone unfollowed them. You had big creators, some of them their friends, making videos talking about what terrible people they were, and basically treating them as though they were guilty without really giving them a chance to respond. A couple of weeks later, when they both did respond, they came back with receipts basically proving their innocence, and everything kind of flipped on everyone who was accusing them in the first place. Like creators who had made videos on them or posted about them, basically assuming that they were guilty, all of a sudden were barraged by people being like, you were so wrong in the first place to like push this idea that they were guilty, and they kind of got cancelled themselves as a result. So I think after this Pyro thing came out, no creators really wanted to touch it in case you had another Slazo or James Charles situation. But about 3 hours ago, almost 2 weeks after the thread was posted, Pyro responded on Reddit. So his post from 3 hours ago is titled Addressing the False Allegations. He says, hey gamers, I would like to take this opportunity to address a false allegation recently made against me on Twitter. As some of you may have seen, it has been claimed that back in 2016, when I was 19 years old, that I groomed an individual who was 15 years old at the time. I want to set the record straight with you all and share the truth. This accusation is 100% false and incredibly irresponsible. I'm not denying that in the past, I took part in conversations with others that many of you may understandably consider to be weird and distasteful. Probably an understatement. It was careless of me not to consider who was behind the roleplay art sharing, and I take full accountability. But these exchanges never amounted to anything other than fantasy roleplay. I have never sent or solicited nude or IRL content. I've never tried to engineer an illicit encounter or lure anybody into anything. I've never built a dialogue, connection or relationship with the intention of manipulating or exploiting anyone. This was even confirmed by Ivory himself in an interview. He never at any point stated that he felt uncomfortable, and if he did, I would never have continued to message or respond to him. Every exchange between Ivory and I was fully consensual and reciprocal. He never once disclosed the fact that he was 15 at the time these exchanges commenced. He didn't include his age in his bio until he was 16, but I was not on Twitter between the 28th of December 2016 until 29th of June 2017, as I was suspended. Moreover, individuals have since come forward contending that Ivory would be disingenuous about his age to proactively gain entry to other fantasy roleplay groups. I am really confused by Ivory's inconsistency. There's evidence to suggest that he is engaged in fantasy roleplay with another individual similar in age to me. This individual was also not aware of Ivory's age at the time, but in this particular example, it was Ivory who very much initiated and directed the roleplay. After Ivory alleged that I groomed him, this individual then reached out to him to apologise for any hurt he may have inadvertently caused to him, to which Ivory responded, no, you're fine, I don't care. Why does he not care in this instance? Why does he remain unaffected by a similar interaction with others, yet feel the need to single me out and character assassinate only me on social media? Furthermore, if he's angry, confused and sad as he claims to be, why has he been in friendly contact with me right up until September of this year? During the interview mentioned earlier, he was confronted with evidence that he sent art to someone else. He initially claims it was him, but then backtracks, claiming he has no recollection. I'm not here to personally attack anyone, I just want to clear my name. Being falsely accused has been extremely stressful, and it is such a serious issue, I feel it has to now be addressed. All this being said, I will kindly ask my fans not to call out Ivory nor direct any negativity his way. I don't want to play any part in fueling or perpetuating hate. I just want to share the truth, close this chapter, move forward, and return to doing what I love, making unfunny videos. The replies to the Reddit post are all on, and it kind of seems like his community has forgiven him. Pretty much all of the focus is on Pyro admitting that he's got a furry fetish. But this is his subreddit, so you kind of expect all the replies to be one-sided. I do like Pyro's content, but I'd like to think that that wouldn't sway my opinion on something as serious as this. And to me at least, it seems like the grooming accusations have been pretty firmly dismantled. But I'm curious what you guys think. It's going to be interesting to see how others react to this, because although he's put a pretty strong case forward to say that Ivory's motives for the thread were disingenuous, he is technically pleading guilty to the accusations. Not that he groomed Ivory obviously, but at least that the messages sent by the deleted user really were him. And so technically he is confessing to having engaged in explicit and adult conversations with a minor, which is a potential criminal offence. Although he says that Ivory never disclosed the fact that he was 15, he doesn't say that Ivory ever lied about his age. So I'm guessing if he never told him, Pyro probably never asked. And I think quite a lot of people would think that it was Pyro's responsibility to find out. Although he did of course take full accountability for this in his Reddit post. I'm guessing there'll be more to come from Pyro, probably after Ivory's response, so if you want to keep up with the story, I'll definitely be covering any updates in future videos, so make sure you're subscribed down below so you don't miss it. Anyway, that now brings us on to our third and final story of the night. Tana Mongeau is once again facing backlash for a terrible Facetune. The other day, she uploaded to Instagram this photo of her and Noah Cyrus, with the pair dressed as Paris Hilton and Kim Kardashian. Unfortunately for Tana, Noah decided to upload the same photo, but as you can see, there are some pretty big differences. This, of course, isn't the first time Tana's been criticised for using Photoshop. In 2019, she uploaded this photo of her at the People's Choice Awards, where she had literally changed the bone structure in her face. Also, Bella Thorne, who's a US actress and actually dated Tana, called her out on Logan Paul's podcast, saying, with Instagram, they should really snap down, sorry Tana, on Facetune and Photoshop. To be fair to her, she doesn't seem like she actually cares that she gets caught doing it. On an Instagram post comparing a before and after, she replied saying, I like both versions, LMFAO. People always try to clock me for edits like I don't own that shit. I don't think people care that much about their edits themselves. I think it's more that she's got quite a young and impressionable audience. I think the main criticism is that she's promoting unhealthy ideas of body image and face beauty. Like photoshopping out a few spots or scars is one thing, but changing your face and body so you look like a completely different person is just too far. Anyway, that is unfortunately all we have time for today. So if you want to keep up with all the latest news and drama going on in the community, make sure you're subscribed down below so you don't miss out. As always, the links to my Instagram, Twitter and other social media will be down below. So feel free to drop me a follow to keep up with the channel, help me decide what future videos to make, or just stop by to say hi. Thank you for watching and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.